Hello everyone, welcome back. Big Time Auto Racing, episode 39. I am your co-host Dylan Wilson here with my good friend and co-host Brandon Pierce. Fresh off a race at Orange County Speedway. We got lots to talk about today, folks. Jared Fryer came in out of nowhere, wins Orange County. A championship shakeup. We've got some little, a pretty clean race, pretty clean day overall. Well, let's just jump right into it. Brandon, how was your weekend, man? How was Orange County?
Man, I love going to that old girl. It's by far my favorite racetrack, always has been since I turned my first laps there in 2018. So anytime the schedule comes out and Orange County's on there, it's definitely one that I circle. So it was good to go back. Of course, she had her. We did, yeah. So we were there last year.
That's right. What year did we not? 2023. We didn't go there. I missed out on it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's definitely, she's getting older. There's cracks there that if you're not careful, you would probably break your foot in them. But and there has been some asphalt issues. Supposedly there was some. This past weekend on Thursday when some teams were there testing, I can say that I confirmed that, but I will say that the racetrack definitely went out of their way to try to fix it. I mean, they had an asphalt truck come in Thursday afternoon, freshly patched quite a few areas, and I personally did not see or hear of any racetrack coming up during our race. So, and I know there wasn't any caution, for any track issues. So.
Well, it's always a concern. When you go to these older facilities like that, Hickory's been pretty good over the years about not necessarily having track coming up and stuff like that, but they have put down a lot of sealer over the years too. I don't necessarily think Orange County's done that, so definitely always a concern when the big tour goes there and there's 34 cars. Well, not to mention the pros also practicing. Plenty of cars practicing all day. It's gonna do some wear and tear on the track, so it's always a reasonable concern, I think, for the tour when you go to these older facilities. I'm not trying to necessarily pick on Orange County, but it does seem like Orange County is a little bit notorious for that, and they have been over the years. That's been kind of probably one of the reasons that maybe the car store wasn't going there for a couple of years or whatever that period of time was. So I'm not really sure what all happened with that, but there was definitely some issues, and I think that was a reasonable concern for some of the guys, some of the teams. I mean, you always kind of hear it when you're going there. So good to hear that it wasn't too much of an issue. You said that there was a little bit going on Thursday, maybe with test day, but asphalt trucks came out in full force, put the patchwork in, and Orange County looks like they're going to continue on with a full season of late model stock racing there. So good to be back at the old girl, I'd say. I know you were happy.
Yeah, I was. Like I said, it's anybody that was either at the race or watched it on Flow Racing Saturday night, I'm sure would agree. It presents great side-by-side racing, 2-3 wide, from, pretty much all the way on both ends to the fence. I know by the end of the night, both ends, people were ripping the boards. So, it's one of the few places that we go that's like that, and so it's always fun to go back there and race.
A real true multi-groove racetrack. You hear that a lot, that there's multi-groove, but you proved it. I tuned into the race at one point, and Brandon was making it 3 wide going into 3. I'm like, damn, what the hell's he doing? Sure enough, he passed on both. So it worked out pretty good. Yeah, definitely a multi-groove track, so he can speak on that. A lot happened this past weekend. Jared Fryer came in and reasserted his dominance. He's always been a guy that seems to go after the big races and is always a threat. He's literally, I don't know if Jared Fryer has ever struggled in a race car. I've never seen him run bad. So the Jared comes out in full force, shakes up Lane Riggs obviously is not a full-time car store guy anymore, but a car store champion at that, and one of the probably Mount Rushmore car store guys, and he went in there and spoiled it for Lane Riggs. Spoiled Lane's homecoming, man. Jared Fryer came in there and ruined it for Lane, and that was pretty cool, obviously, for Jared. Good for Lane for coming back running the tour after having a successful truck season already and moving up. So good to see those two battling it out. But Jared Fryer, not that I'm surprised, but really cool to see a guy he's kind of like the modern. It's kind of maybe a weird comparison, but like Matt McCall or something. He just shows up for the big ones and wins them, something like that. So. Yeah, really cool to see that kind of style of guy come in and win a Cars Tour race. Not a full timer, first non full timer to win. I think this year, if I'm thinking right, I think that adds up.
Yeah, that'd be right.
Yeah, so pretty cool to see that. A lot of points shake up. Had some chaos happen. Minnie Tyrell, DNF, first DNF of the year for him. So his good luck ran out. Unfortunately, maybe he'll turn that around next week at Ace, but. That shook the points up a lot. Connor Hall, not a great run either. He ended up 18th, I believe, spun early. Did he end up? Did he finish 18th? Is that right?
He did.
Okay, he finished 18th. Connor Hall finished 18th, so points leader slipping a little bit. Cade Brown had a good run. He ended up finishing second, so that shook up the points a lot. So a lot happened this weekend. We'll kind of go through a race rundown to kind of catch everybody up on it. Ryan Newman raced it too. How about that? Racing with a Cup guy. How was that experience, Brandon? Did you get to talk to Ryan any, or get to feel the, energy of Ryan racing with you guys?
Yeah, I felt him pinned right on my door on the start because I started racing.
There you go. So,
yeah. So that was the extent of our chat. So no, we actually didn't talk. Just kind of threw our hand up at each other. I mean, I did get to. He was actually who I sat beside last year when we ran on the same night as the Smart Tour to close out Wilkesboro in the autograph session down there in the suite. So he did remember me from that. So just little small talk and good luck and whatnot. But yeah, he was pretty quick all weekend. Honestly, I mean, I think in the race, I think I saw in some of his post race comments, he said, he just didn't really know how aggressive to be or how aggressive I think we were going to be. I mean, he had said, of course, obviously follows the Cars Tour, but
he's like, man, these guys don't save tires at all.
I mean, watching a race and then being in one, and then, no disrespect to him, but, one thing that I always remember growing up watching him, he's got the nickname, Rocket Man he is hell to pass.
Yeah.
In anything he races.
Oh yeah.
So when I saw that I qualified right beside him, I made my mind up. I better get clear pretty quick, or I might be in for a long night. And luckily for me, I think it was like lap 3 or 4, I did get clear. But yeah, man, I think he definitely came in. Like I said, made his presence known. I mean, like I said, he had speed all weekend and held his own during the race for sure.
Yeah, subbed in for Tristan McKee, who's usually running the Cars Tour in the 7 car for Matt Piercy, but he was off running a TA2 event, I believe. Is that what
yeah, that's right.
TA2 race, which is road course racing and a sports car racing. So he's out doing that, doing some different things, maybe preparing for a furthermore career in the racing world. But so his replacement was Ryan Newman. That's a pretty good guy to tap in, I guess. So, pretty neat deal. Ryan Newman racing in the Cars Tour, and not only racing, but just being a part of the whole event and promoting it a little bit. And High Rock on the car, and Dale obviously wanting him there and promoting the event. It's a neat deal. It's cool to see Cup guys and legends. And I mean, this is not a new thing. I mean, Kenny Wallace ran a couple years ago. Who ran last year? I feel like an ex-Cup guy might have ran last year. I'm forgetting. Ryan Newman, obviously, this year. And you're still young, so you can see a lot more. And that's neat, man. It's cool it's gonna add cars to the field anytime.
Byron ran Caraway.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, William Byron. Yeah. So we've had Cup guys every year run a race, and that's really, really damn neat to see that. At one point in time, that was kind of unheard of to see Cup guys come to run late model races, and now it happens every year. And you can see Edge Cup guys run almost weekly. So, with that being said, a lot of good stuff happened at Orange County. A lot of bad stuff, I guess you could say, if you were Connor Hall or Minnie Tyrell. Not too good of a night for them. But top 5 rundown. Jared Fryer won the race. Cade Brown P2. Cade Honeycutt third, driving for Hettinger. First start for them. That was pretty neat. In the 71 car, finished third, first time out in it. Lane Ridge finished 4th, and Ronnie Bassett Jr. finished 5th to round out the top 5. So, not a real surprising top five outside of Connor Hall not being in it, but definitely a stacked one. I think that just kind of goes to show how tough the field is every week. It wasn't no easier at Orange County, that's for damn sure, especially with the guys up front that were up front. So,
Mm.
any crazy things going on in the race, Brandon? Any out of the ordinary stuff happened this week, or nothing too out of the ordinary? How'd the tires hold up? F45s hold up? Did you feel like you pushed the tires hard this week, or harder than normal there? Any quirks about Orange County?
I did. I mean, but they held up. Just we were free.
Yeah.
Which I'll be able to touch on. When I do my recap. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really hear of anybody say they had any tire issues.
Yeah.
I mean, we were for the second consecutive week, we were all in the same code in the race.
Yeah.
So, which I applaud them for that. I think that's how it needs to stay the rest of the year.
For sure. So they're doing a little bit better job of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, let's get into it, man. Let's get your race rundown. You had some speed. You had obviously had a great qualifying effort.
For once, you can't say, "Hey, we qualified dog shit last." Nope,
yeah,
we
turned qualifying effort.
Yeah.
What, 11th or 12th? What was it?
Ended up getting credited. Me and Newman ran the exact same time, but they ended up crediting me with 11th once we went green because the whole start was kind of messed up. I do know they'll probably be trying hard to correct that and just to not get too off topic on that, but for instance, I know Carson Lofton ended up not starting within 3 or 4 rows of where he should have started as far as that he got screwed. I mean, I think he was supposed to start 15th or 16th and he started 21st. But from what I was told, what led to all that is somehow, some way, everybody got screwed up in staging on pit road when they pulled us to the back pit road. And I guess when we all pulled out, which to me still you should have the rundown.
Yeah.
But just get everybody right. But obviously they didn't, and we went green. So, but yeah, so we ended up timing 11th, which was really good for us. I had a big pickup. I mean, like I said, we had struggled a little bit all weekend. None of us, I mean, I'll just be blunt, we were not happy at all Friday. Our race pace and drivability wasn't terrible, but Orange County is one of those places where I think anybody that you hear talk about that's been racing for a while, there's a feel that they're looking for, whether that be at most places, but if it's their favorite racetrack, it's definitely there.
You practice on old tires mostly, or?
Not really. I mean, we unloaded on 25 lappers,
yeah.
And so Orange County is a place where it's like that fine, that medium. There's grip and you're carrying a lot of speed there, but it will, as far as a tire heat thing, or a handling as far as how edgy you feel or on top of the racetrack.
Right.
Outside of that, as long as you've got good drive, I mean, you can pretty much go hard all night. But we were just struggling to find the feel that I like to have there on Friday. Kind of re-racked our heads and showed up Saturday morning and kind of went a different route and knew by then that there was potentially some rain coming, so we weren't too worried about adjusting ourselves out in practice. Just was trying to get the feel that I was looking for and felt like I had it. Still just felt like we might needed to free up a little bit, and we did. What ended up biting us is though it actually cooled off quite a bit for our race, and when we were all getting strapped in, I noticed on my windshields I had dew, and so I knew at that point we would be a little screwed if we went a little too far, because generally speaking, dew frees up or makes the racetrack free up, and so it did. We fired off and held our own all the way till lap 93. I mean, I ran 10th to 12th all night. Was right up in the action. Literally, when Minnie wrecked, it happened right in front of me. I rolled out of it to not hit them.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal for sure. And but felt pretty confident in our car. Around lap 65-ish, actually, Minnie had gotten around me, and I had settled in behind him, and that was when I could tell we were starting to get a little free. And so I just kind of went into protect mode and started trying to move around a little bit. Played with my brake by some and my fans, trying to see what I could do to help calm it down some, and that did help enough where I thought we would be able to hold our own the rest of the night. But when that last caution come out, they stacked up a little bit in front of us. Me and the 27 made some contact, and I got up in the loose stuff and lost a couple spots, and then was just I ran that whole group back down from Millington to uh, Grouse. So it was like 6 or 7 of us under a blanket, but I just didn't have enough car to make that. The harder I would run, the freer I would get. So
Right.
kind of just ended up falling back, unfortunately. Like I said, we ran right at the top 10 all night and outran and outqualified some really, really good cars. I think you can say any week that you, and not just, pinpointing them specifically, because like I said, there was plenty of other good cars as well, but any week you outqualify the 88, even if it's only by a spot or two, I mean,
Mhm.
you're probably
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And they definitely had an off weekend, but so yeah, it sucked. The end result. It definitely didn't reflect the run that I thought we had put together. But I just chalked it up that I asked Justin to go probably one adjustment too far, and then the natural adjustment that we got, which was that the track dude up and freed up. I think if that hadn't happened, we made the right call.
Yeah.
It definitely gave us some qualifying speed and early race speed. Um, I think just to do with the adjustment we made, it just freed up too much, and it ended up biting us there at the end. So
Yeah.
back to the drawing board, and if it looks like old Dew's going to roll in at ace, I can promise you I ain't going to free the car up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the damn dew stays away, and you'll be all right. But yeah, no, definitely a good weekend. I mean, you had some speed. I know you didn't get the result you wanted, but getting to go up there and run in the front of the field and race hard with like really hard with some good cars, I'm sure was definitely a sigh of relief, even though you don't necessarily have the result you wanted. But yeah, I'd
Yeah,
be
that is
happy with
one
that.
thing. That is one thing I'll say. I think as me and you talk, man, this shit's hard, and it comes in waves, and we have more speed. Our group, specifically speaking, our team, we have more speed this year than how we started last year. If you looked at our results, you'd go, "What the hell is Brandon talking about?" I mean, if you went by my finishes, but we all know in racing, unfortunately, from the outside looking in, that's all anybody looks at.
Yeah.
Nine times out of 10, I would say that hardly ever tells the story,
Uh-huh.
of what it actually is. So, we've definitely had a lot of bad luck here early, and had some mishaps that, like I said, we haven't been fortunate to get the finishes that we need. Obviously, our fuel issues at Cordele, and then, like I said, falling back late. But the common there is we're running inside the top 10 or at the top 10 every week, at least for the last couple weeks, and did at Wake County. Like I said, we put together three straight races where we were running at or inside the top 10, and I think when you're doing that in the cars towards something to hold your head about, and you're definitely putting the right pieces together and getting the cards to align, more ways than you are not. But it's just a matter of consistently doing that and getting them all to stack up. So, but back to your point of what you said, I forget how hard you are racing when you get in the top 10,
Oh yeah.
especially at these tracks like Orange County where you're carrying a lot of momentum. I mean, I can say that I think, unfortunately, that's what got Minnie in trouble the other night. I mean, you're racing so hard, so tight, so close together. It's a game of inches. And like I said, I had a front row seat for that deal, and that's what that came down to. I mean, nobody really did anything wrong. Minnie was trying to get all he could get. The 27 to his outside, same thing, and they made slight contact, and it got Minnie just a bit out of shape. And when he overcorrected it, Tate was there, and next thing you know, they're wrecking. So, but that's going to happen in the tour. We're all so close, and sometimes mistakes happen, and
Oh yeah.
like you said, it definitely shook the points up for sure. And that wasn't the only big wreck. There was the big one down in 1 and 2 that I guess got about 6 cars, 7 cars.
Yeah, right
I
there
mean,
at
hell,
it.
Landon Lewis literally got airborne and still
Yeah.
finished ninth.
Yeah, obviously a crazy night. Fryer comes out of there really clean, and then Cade Brown making a pretty solid early title charge, or at least a claim at the championship for sure. As consistent as he's been, and Ronnie Bassett Jr. as well. He's gaining ground kind of quietly. Hasn't been necessarily battling in the top 2 every week per se, but he's always up near the top 5 at the end. So barring a wreck or whatever. So
Mhm.
so yeah, A lot of winners the other night, but a couple of bad nights for Connor Hall obviously ends up P18, and then Minnie's big wreck, so that kind of shakes up the points a little bit. So it kind of is a little bit of a reset here. Just a few races in, so it's almost like a little bit of even playing field. I mean, there's a 9-point. Connor Hall has a 9-point lead over Cade Brown, and Ronnie's only 18 points back. So everybody's right there in a tight bubble, just like they always are. But early season, you usually kind of have a favorite, and I think you're kind of full of it if you're saying that Connor's not really the favorite still. I think Connor's obviously, one bad night doesn't necessarily change everything, but it can, and I think that momentum is definitely real, and doesn't necessarily mean Connor's going to start not running good. I just think it could really build some momentum for other guys. And you could see someone like Cade Brown put together a big run, a string of wins, or Ronnie Bassett Jr. or somebody like that. So a lot of potential for some big championship fights here early in the season. So that's pretty cool. Moving on, let's get into the track ratings. We've only done, I guess, one rating of Orange County in its history, and it looks like back in the day, Orange County, I don't even know what Orange County got back in the day. I'm going to do some research here just to find out. Orange County's previous rating was a 6.2, so very low. I thought that was right. I didn't want to lie. 6.2 Orange County. So chance for redemption here.
I'm not sure it's going to be much better, unfortunately.
Yeah, chance
not
for redemption.
Not from a racetrack standpoint, but
also chance to make do on the do. Brandon, fun factor, racing quality, passenger, the whole deal. How was it?
Yeah, I mean, on that, I'm going to give it a 9. I mean, okay. I literally was on the apron. So, I mean, it's, I just love it, man. I mean, it's a place where throw out some of the things that happened the other night, right? Because some of what caused those incidents, you've talked about it. It's kind of been a topic of discussion for, I'd say, the last year and a half, that respect factor in the tour.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily saying there was any disrespect the other night, but I mean, it's hard racing and shit's going to happen, and it did the other night. So, but as far as like passing and action, I mean, I don't think any fan there went and was like, man, that damn race was a snooze fest.
Yeah. Right.
Because it wasn't. I mean, yes, Fryer got out front and kind of ran away with it, but I mean, hell, even the battle for second was pretty incredible. I mean, like I said, I didn't get to see it until I got back home and rewatched the race, but I mean, and then everywhere out of my windshield all night, I mean, there was plenty of battles and side-by-side races. Yeah. So I think anytime that we go to a track and we as racers can put on that kind of show or produce that kind of racing, it's really going to be hard to say that the race sucked. So
solid 9.
So yeah, on that I give it a 9.
Big 9 on fun factor. All right, track atmosphere. So fan turnout, events, promotions, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so, I mean, I can honestly say, which, again, don't live around that area, so that's fair to point out, but, so I don't know, like, as far as in the community, what kind of advertising they may have done or whatnot. I mean, obviously, the tour does a great job every week, no matter where we're racing, of, giving us drivers, and then the tour channels themselves on social platforms does a great job of promoting where we're racing. Fan turnout was great, but they always pack the stands there at Orange County. That I don't think I've ever raced there and it been, less than 3/4 of the way full or sold out. So, on that, I'll give it a 8 because, like I said, I mean, the crowd was really good. I'd argue to say, I mean, it would be tough without finding the exact numbers, right? But I would definitely say it was one of our bigger crowds this year, if not the biggest.
All right. Solid 8. How about trackside there? That's also kind of. Do they have much trackside going on?
You can like pull your chair up, like no like pulling up a vehicle.
Yeah.
But along the back and into 3 and 4, you can sit around the fence.
Okay. So there's a little bit of trackside action.
Yeah, and they line them up over there too. So
not the full experience of the old truck bed, but somewhat of a trackside deal. All right, so 8. Got a 9 and an 8 so far. Up next, facilities. So the lighting, infrastructure, the eye appeal, infield elbow room, spotter stand. How's all that going up there at the old Orange County?
So lighting is fine. Infield elbow room, plenty. I mean, you got room. Um, Appeal. I mean, it's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not. She's she's an eyesore. I mean, I'll just say that. Like I said,
She's a
as
little
far
run
as
down.
yeah, once you get inside,
Yeah.
you know. So on that, I'd say probably a 6 would be fair on
Okay.
that.
So a 6. Moving on to one of the most infamous categories here. Bathrooms and concessions. So the elbow room, the cleanliness, the shitter comfort, food quality, menu items, all that combined into one. Brandon, what do you give it?
I feel like I'm a broken record, so I really need you to start coming to the racetrack
Yeah. Well,
on this, on just the concession part.
yeah. We don't really have to necessarily factor in concessions. If we didn't eat, we won't factor. We'll just base it completely off of
Yeah.
bathrooms.
So off of bathrooms, I mean, I think you and I have honestly grown this podcast based off of this category. I mean, there's literally people that tell me they tune in literally just to hear us rate shitters.
Yeah.
And I'm not complaining.
This one's
If
a
we
tough one.
excite you, yeah, if we excite you on that and we get your likes and clicks, hey, we're all here for it. So, with that being said, I think that has caused you and I to be more critical of places, and for good reason, because we are rating all these racetracks. And so, with that being said, I think Orange County's got to get like a 2. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just not. It's not good. It's really not. Porta Johns were already in rough shape by the time we got there on Friday.
Mm.
Normally
Nice
at
and
least.
steamy.
Well, normally, they're going to at least be freshly pumped. And here's all I'm going to say. In their defense, I was not there Thursday,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to sit here and throw shade, but I'll say this. If they were fresh Thursday, then all you fuckers listening to this, you should be ashamed of yourself because they were in bad shape already by Friday morning. So that's all I will say. But yeah, but I know that's pretty harsh, but it was bad. So it's always, I think, been unfortunately something there that is a big topic of discussion.
Yeah.
Because the racing is so great, so it's a shame. But yeah, I think if I'm being fair, I'd have to say a 2.
All right. So a 2 for the old shitters, unfortunately, but that's part of it. We got to use them when we're there, and if they suck, we're gonna say it. All right. How about surrounding area, which is hotels, nightlife, things to do?
So Orange County is close enough. I come back home.
Yeah.
And I know me and you kind of touched on it on our last podcast or on our Cordeal episode that we were going to start, letting it factor in what we do.
Yeah.
If we're able to have a good time or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, some weeks it's nice to come on back to the
Oh yeah.
house and just take it easy. And so me and the wife went up to the local restaurant in Oak Ridge, Stoke Ridge Tavern and Grill, and
How far is that from the racetrack?
I mean, it would be an hour and
About an
10
hour.
because I mean it's 10 minutes from my house. So yeah,
Yeah.
it takes me about an hour and 15, hour and 20 to get back home, but it's not a bad drive. It's pretty
Not a
much a
bad
straight
drive.
shot. Yeah, so
I guess
but
to
I mean,
be fair to the ratings, we probably need to factor in if a traveling soldier's coming in there and he's got to get a hotel in Rougemont.
yeah, I mean, so for that matter, I mean,
I
like I said,
mean-
there's nothing around the racetrack. I mean, you're going back to, I don't know, I guess it's
Well, where do the big teams stay
Hillsboro
if they race in Orange
yeah,
County?
it'd be Hillsboro, and then there's Durham, and I guess Roxboro. I mean, so there's cities around there that have stuff for sure.
Not a lot going on though, right near the track.
That is correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, final score, Brandon.
So for that, like you said, I mean, because we do have to factor in the
Yeah.
people who are traveling.
But
I
you
will say
were
this,
able
though,
to
I
make
did
it a
wanna-
good night for yourself, so that counts too.
Correct. I will say this though, big camper turnout.
Oh, that's nice.
Had a big camper turnout, yeah. So I think a lot of people, and I've been noticing that a lot more this year, just with our races and our race teams in general.
Yeah.
A lot more. I feel like there's a lot more camping going on this
A
year.
little bit
So
more of a
I feel like-
traveling circus.
Yeah, I guess you could say, yeah. Well, I mean, just I think guys are, it's whether it's becoming more of a family thing or getting everybody in the camper or whatnot. Just turning it more into
Yeah, that's cool.
life on the road and having a good time with it. So, but to be fair to that, like I said, and the area around, I mean, I had a good, was still able to come home and have a good night. But there is not a ton in the area. Um, but big camper turnout, so I'll say 6.
All right, so 6. Time to do some quick math. All right, after some quick math, jury's out. 6.2 again. So 6.2, which I guess is fair because I mean the track was pretty much the same as last year, right?
Yep, it was.
So last year got a 6.2. This year ranged through again with another 6.2. So everything kind of lined up. Obviously want to see tracks a little bit higher, but just part of it. Just got to be brutally honest sometimes, and maybe it'll inspire some upgrades or something like that in the future, or at least some track out there somewhere will be like, you know what, maybe we should do this, and it'll help fans at the racetrack or drivers or whatever, crews. Bathrooms are kind of really the only reason that place gets a bad score, to be honest. I mean, you got a 2 in bathroom. If it doesn't have a 2 there, it's a 7. You know what I mean? Like you have a 3 or a 4, you're up 6, 8, 6, 9. So, that's really all it takes. I think is just some upgraded bathrooms and just a little bit here and there, make things a little bit more easy on the guys throughout the race day, because there is about 50 or 60 different cars there, probably 30, 40 teams, and damn 200 assholes ready to damn open up. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, sometimes it's tough to do it at some of these facilities. So that's part of it. Anyways, moving on. Orange County has been a cool little racetrack. I think it's always put on great racing. It's really fast. What was the pole time, Brandon?
I think that kid ran. Hold on one second. I got it right here. He ran a 90 something, so it got in the 90s. And
yeah. So
been a couple years since it's been that. So pole time was a 13.991.
Yeah, 13. So down in the 13s again.
He was the only one in the 13s, but yes, we broke back into the 13s.
Yeah, wow. So obviously track's fast, puts on a good show. We'll see what the future holds for the car store at Orange County. I mean, I feel like there's definitely a future there. I hope there is. I think there's a lot of back and forth on what new tracks are coming and when we're going to go here and which tracks are losing dates and which ones deserve dates. And I surely ain't basing it off of what the BTAR scoring system is, but it does help, kind of identify the tracks that are actively putting effort in. At least, you know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily, shape the whole landscape of it. But, I think it is a good measuring stick.
It's like me and you talk. So, I've been running the series full-time since 2018. You've been in and out of the series and ran full-time seasons as well. So we can both talk on this. There's been years of swings and kind of a little bit of a roller coaster. I mean, it's went up and down as far as the number of races that we run. And we talked about this earlier in the year, a couple episodes ago. I am perfectly okay with, this year the schedule's 15 races. We're only going to one racetrack. There's only one racetrack that we are going to twice, and that is Wilkesboro.
Right.
And so then you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, pretty good season. I, however, don't necessarily want us to get into a thing where, as well, let's say that Orange County does put in the effort and the money that they need to put in, because like I said, I love the place. It's got a very special place in my heart. My dad raced there. Like, I love that racetrack, but we are a touring series, and I'm not saying that means that like we hold, this higher ground. I'm talking about even for a Saturday night show, man, like just put a little bit of effort into your facilities inside.
Oh yeah.
I can't speak much to the outside, as far as for fans out there in the midway and whatnot, but inside, I mean, it needs a little bit of elbow grease. It does. Yeah. So using that as an example, so say if the schedule comes out next year and it would be 16 races and we're going somewhere else, and that I'm fine with that. If we're racing I don't really want to see it probably go over 17. definitely no more than 18. And again, that's keeping in mind, like saying that if it's that the new thing becomes that we're gonna run twice a year at Wilkesboro, have our big All Star weekend, and then that be our championship night. I'm cool with that, but it'll be interesting to see because as me and you talk even off camera, there's definitely been some rumblings already start of what is next to come, and be interesting to see what that is.
Yeah, I think there's and we talked about it a little bit at the end of the last episode. There's a lot of tracks that are definitely on the radar. I mean, I know a couple people commented Newport, a couple people commented Jennerstown. Newport had a race, a late model race just this past. They reopened, so obviously a lot of people talking about it as well. Man, I don't know if the answer is more races. Like I like 15 races. I think that's a good amount. It doesn't spread it out too much, and I feel like the schedule is fairly relaxed, except for right now. Um, right now is probably one of the hardest parts of the year, I'd imagine, at least for some of the guys. But at least these races are somewhat close in distance, like Ace and Orange County, these back-to-back weeks and stuff. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's 17 races is the answer. That way you don't lose tracks. I think it's okay to I think, like I said on the last episode, it's okay to rotate a new track every year. Like if it needs to be a staple, if we go somewhere and we're like, damn, we got to go back there every year. There's no way we should never go back there or not go back there next year. Then it's like, okay, we'll consider this as a track to potentially be on the schedule full time if it makes sense.
Right.
So yeah, I like the idea of this trial and error kind of thing. We'll see if they work. I mean, Cordell was obviously that for us this year, but Orange County is sort of that in a way too, because I think every track is year to year, and Orange County has been in one of those tracks that is you didn't really know if they were going to be on the schedule or not. You know what I mean? Like we're kind of waiting every year when the schedule comes out, like, is it going to be on there or not? Because first year I did it, I was like, damn, that sucks. So I had to take it off. So who knows what happens there? I mean, it's obviously all speculation right now, but we could definitely we could see Orange County back next year, or we could see a different track take its place. So that's always that our off-season episodes will probably be full of that content, and we'll figure it out as we go, I'm sure. But
Well, while we're on the topic of it, if you had your pick, let's say next year, let's look in the future a little bit just for content purposes. Dylan Wilson's schedule is going to be whatever it is, and if in that being said, if there was a track that we have not been to, or I would even say if we have and maybe it's no longer on there.
Yeah.
If you got to pick your poison of a place that you were like, all right, I know for sure if this track's on there when that schedule comes out in 2026, I'm going. What would that be for you?
I would. It's tough. I mean, I want to say like the new tracks people mentioned is like Newport and stuff. And after seeing some of Landon's pictures and videos after he raced up there, it does look like a really cool place. So I could definitely see Newport being very intriguing. Also, it's up towards Knoxville, so I don't know, might make something happen there. Big Tennessee fan here, so I would say Newport. I'm not saying like, oh my god, if it's on the schedule, I'm absolutely racing. It's not necessarily that for me. It was always Wilkesboro, but now that that's here, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I've always like I said, Newport's cool. I wouldn't say it's always been my number one. I mean, do you have one that's on your mind, or?
Yeah, I do, because like me and you've talked, man. I don't know how many more years I'm gonna get to do this, right? I've been doing this a long time, and it's expensive. It's expensive for everybody. Everybody that go, and I don't care, even to our awesome supporters on here that you race at your local short track Friday and Saturday night. We pull for you guys too, because if you're racing, it's expensive. I don't care what you're racing. There's not a form of racing that is cheap. But I can say that if I got to pick, because I think, they showed that even with Cordell. Like, yes, I know there was people, we had the whole thing about the testing, but that was a track thing, right? That wasn't a tour thing. I thought the tour accommodated us very well. The fans showed up and the facility was beautiful. If there was one, though, that I got to pick that was on there, just because I've kind of can picture what I feel like that weekend would consist of and just the history there. I still say I'd really love to see us go to the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
I think that we would put on a badass race. I think it would be, and obviously too, I'm not gonna sit here and lie, right? Like that's the person in me too, right? Like it's Nashville, it'd be a good time.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So
yeah, I definitely agree with that. I guess I was thinking too, like locally or regionally based, but yeah, I mean, as far as
I was just going more.
Oh
yeah, I was going more
absolutely.
so on the. I mean, because keep in mind, I mean, they done come out and said we were gonna go to New Smyrna this year, but when they gave them the date that it would have to be, we were not going to race on Super Bowl Sunday.
Right.
Like, that wasn't going to happen. So,
and that's like crazy early in the year. Yeah,
and I'm no genius, but I don't know how far it is to New Smyrna.
Further than Cordele.
Well, I was going to say, and then to Nashville, but just off of rough math, I'm thinking it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, distance wise. So. Yeah, for sure. Probably 8-9 hours, something like that. But I would love to go to the fairgrounds. I mean, I think that would be, obviously, I think you'd see a lot of guys want to make that trip, but you've heard the rumblings that place might not even exist very long. I mean, who knows what all do down there? So that's definitely.
I'm glad you brought that up too. That was another reason. I think anybody who's seen, like, I try to go for more of these like historic tracks that are either have been, like, again, let's talk Wilkesboro. Like, I can honestly tell you, when I started doing this, and obviously it's got a lot of sentimental value for you, I didn't think I'd ever get to go race at Wilkesboro, man. I've driven by that. I mean, my family owns a business 2 exits past the racetrack. I've driven by that racetrack probably 1,000 times, maybe more. I didn't ever think I'd get the opportunity to race there, and here we are. So, but anytime these tracks, and I've seen and heard, badass stories about the UARA days, the late model days back at Newport, and seen, YouTube videos of that place, and they put on a good race. So, I could, if they put that on the schedule, I'm fine with that too. So, like I said, it'll be interesting to see. I think Dale and the ownership group have showed.
What about Kingsport?
No.
You don't like Kingsport.
Been there, done that.
I was just thinking Tennessee based. I like the idea of going to Tennessee. I mean, be adding another state to the list. I like the idea of that,
Of the asphalt tracks, and me and you could be idiots, and we might be missing one, but not that I know of. If it would be the fairgrounds, Newport, and Kingsport, that would probably be my ranking of how doing it. And if we don't go to Kingsport, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's just not my place, man.
Definitely an odd little joint for sure. I could see
the fact that the thing wasn't seamed the way it is and about to knock a A-frame off a race car. I mean,
very, very odd little place. But I do think there's a market to go out towards Tennessee for sure, whether it's the fairgrounds or Newport. I think there's probably some eyeballs on it. I think the tours definitely.
Newport's obviously closer. Like I forget what Landon said, how long it took him to get out there. I think it was 3-4 hours, something like that.
Seems like it, yeah.
So it's obviously closer than the fairgrounds, but still Tennessee, like you said. So obviously a potential market there, I think. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. So moving on, I don't know if there's much to say for me about the Ace Speedway. I haven't raced there a whole lot, and
well, tell our viewers, Dylan, what you think about Ace.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I used to hate it pretty bad. I mean, I've really only raced there. I raced the limited race there one time, and then I raced I didn't make the field. I tried to race the Cars Tour one time, and then I did race it another time, and it was a terrible experience both times. First time, motor was blowing up in practice, and tried to qualify it and didn't, and then I had a make-believe provisional, and it didn't work. And then the next time was I don't even remember really what. I would probably just sucked, but I didn't like it. Didn't like that track. that night for sure, and I bitched probably for 2 days to Brandon about it, which is why he gives me hell about it now. But so Brandon, though, he's had some pretty good runs there. How do you feel about the old Ace Speedway in Altima Hall? Weirdest probably drive-in to a track you can have. Don't know how some of those trailers make it in, but
100%.
it's crazy little. I'd like to know who lives in that house that's right where you can about clip it in that tight little corner there right before you get to the track.
If you blow it, yeah.
At some point, somebody lived there and slept in that bedroom for sure, right beside the damn highway. And I'm telling you, it's 6 feet from where their headboard is. Like legitimately 6 feet. Craziest shit I've ever seen. Anyways, how's the racetrack?
Yeah, man. I mean, I will say too, and I've been pretty vocal, but it's not my favorite, and it sucks because it's the closest one to home. Pretty much. I mean, it's like kind of almost in a dead heat with Caraway, I guess, distance for me. But it also does hold a special place in my heart because it's the first place I ever turned laps in a full body car in a limited back when I was 14 years old. So, and I have had some good runs there. I've qualified good there, but I've also had some bad memories there and some expensive nights there. So, to answer your question, if we can go there and stay out of trouble, I think I'll have a really solid night. I'm normally, knock on wood, in the past, even when I've had bad nights, I'm normally running pretty good when everything goes to hell. So yeah, and I'm hoping, right? This is probably optimistic thinking, right? Because it is the car store, but that everybody can go there, and I mean, we're gonna race hard, right, and put on a good show, and there's gonna be plenty of donut marks. But as far as like not tearing up stuff, that'd be great because we do have a decently quick turnaround to Wilkesboro right after. So repairing race cars like in the form of metal would not be on the list for me for sure.
Yeah,
like no door doubt. Or something I'm okay with, but so yeah, I'm
hopefully everybody keeps their heads on them.
I am looking forward to getting back there though, because I do feel like I need to. I mean, last year we had 2 pretty solid runs going. We finished 11th the first race and was running 8th the second race when I got turned by Connor Hall and junked.
Yeah. I remember.
So
that.
Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I will say I'm excited too to see the entry list because as me and you always get some hometown boys. I would say that probably is arguably one of the tracks you get the most locals at. I would say, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's usually a good amount.
And they're normally the Ward brothers, Dylan Harville, normally Heath Causey.
Usually, and Blake Stallings usually runs.
Blake Stallings, yeah, and I mean all them guys, and they normally run pretty good.
Yeah,
and they definitely don't lay over. So it'll be interesting for sure. I mean, I expect to see a pretty healthy field. I should have tried to clarify this before me and you came on here, but I do know for our listeners that will be a race where the field size is smaller. Now, I cannot confirm what. I want to say it's
28, right?
It's either going to be 28, so 26 on time and 2 provisionals to give 28, or it would be 24 and 2 to be 26.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but I do know that there will probably be cars going home.
Yeah, so we'll have to stay tuned in on that. Obviously, that'll be a little bit of it's always biting some nails right around that time, qualifying time. So one of the most intense places on planet Earth is Cars Tour qualifying every week. So, go tune in.
I was sweating myself this past week because I guess I was one thing. I was shocked my time held up too because I went out 5th.
Yeah.
And it rained. It did rain right before qualifying. Now, we did have the pros go right before us, but, I mean, it did rain, and they did have to dry the track right before qualifying, so I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
But our time held up pretty good, so it'd be nice to go back that up. In a perfect world, be even a couple rows better than we were this past week, but I like these weeks sometimes, or at least when you come off of a week where you didn't tear up anything. It's a little different when it's the other way around, and I've been on that side of it for sure too. But I like these weeks sometimes because I feel like you can keep that momentum going, and I feel like in this series, momentum is very crucial.
Yep, no doubt about that. Momentum is the name of the game in the Cars Tour. I guess final takeaway for Ace coming up. I'm going to make a little winner pick early. I'm going to say Ryan Millington's going to be tough to beat at Ace Speedway. He always is, and it's somebody I would keep an eye on for sure. For those of you that like to race monitor watch on Friday and watch the races on Saturday, I'd say the 15 car will be pretty tough, and that would probably be my early pick to win. Yeah, well, it was a good little weekend in Orange County. Not a lot of torn up race cars. I mean, there's a couple of them. Obviously, hate that for many and a couple of the other guys, but not a slugfest. No bad, terrible restart deals, and I thought a relatively clean race for Orange County, and that's good coming off of the race before.
Yeah, I don't think there was any mischiefs restart shenanigans. I mean, there wasn't one called back or one that we all came all jumbled up. I mean, all of them that I remember rolling to, we just got there and went, and that's how it should be every week. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come, because that's how it should be in my opinion. I don't ever and never have understood the games. I've led races myself. It's been a while, but I have. And I mean, whenever I'm controlling it up there, I mean, I just get there, and yes, as the leader, you deserve the right, and you still can fire wherever you want. I'm perfectly okay with that. But this whole shit of stopping and going or brake checking, it really grinds my gears. So glad to see that for a weekend where we didn't do that. And like I said, look at what happened. We didn't tear up anything on a restart. So
yeah, hopefully they continue to, scrutinize that pretty heavily, and don't let people get away with it continuously. I feel like there was a lot of that over the last couple of years, like you said, and finally, hopefully, starting to get a little bit of some common ground, and everybody will notice come together with a common goal of putting on a better product for the fans, but mostly it's, if the race goes green, it's probably going to help the leaders out anyway. So I don't know, you know what I mean? They're just causing more restarts for themselves. They'll be in the car bitching about all these wrecks when they literally caused the wreck. It's just like, I'm not saying I have evidence of that, but I'm sure every time, you're sitting there playing games on the front road and you get through the gears, you have a great restart, get the lead on the backstretch, and they throw the caution because they damn wadded up 15 cars on the damn going into one from 10th to 15th. And you're sitting there bitching at everybody about it, saying, y'all non-driving in the back, I don't know what y'all are doing. It's you.
Yeah.
Quit hitting the brakes, just part of it.
Yeah.
We've changed plenty of radiators back there, people get tired of doing that. So like I said, very clean looking race at Orange County. So
when you have to put ductwork in a couple times, it makes you.
So needless to say, not a lot of speedy dry used at Orange County. So the kitty litter industry probably not doing, not a lot of sales in old Rougemont. Isn't that where it's at?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Rougemont. Is that how you say that? Or is it Rougemont?
They do still have the Rougemont. They do still have that badass little track car, that little orange.
It is nice, a nice little track car. So not a lot of kitty litter used this weekend because there wasn't a lot of busted up radiators, because there wasn't a lot of bad restarts. So we like that. Saving kitty litter, speedy dry, whatever you want to call it. I think we covered it all. The championship momentum swings, our final takeaways from Orange County, and our upcoming race at Ace Speedway. Brandon will be racing there. I'm not racing, but I'll be at Wilkesboro, obviously, the following race here in 3 weeks. So I guess the last episode I didn't have it announced yet, but in the 32 car for MKM, and we're excited about that. Going to go race some hell in Wilkesboro, as always. This time we're going to do it in a Cadillac, though. So can't wait to go do that. But we got another race to watch before then, and we'll spend, I'm sure, don't worry, we'll spend 3 weeks of diarrhea of the mouth about Wilkesboro in probably 3 consecutive episodes, and y'all will be sick of us talking about it. So I don't want to get too much into Wilkesboro and that whole deal now, but if you are interested on are interested in any of the more information on that, you know, obviously go check into some of the announcements and stuff that I've put out. Obviously, haven't got to race a lot the last year, so anytime that I get to race, right now, it's pretty big news for me. So I like to keep you guys updated on that, because I think some of you might think I'm literally just a podcast host at some point. Do drive every now and then. Not well, but I drive fucking hard. So yeah, that's what everybody should do. I appreciate you guys listening. This is Big Time Auto Racing. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe across all channels, especially YouTube. Sends us up the ratings. And if you're listening and you've made it this far, leave us 5 stars and a great review on how we changed your life and made it better. And thank you for that in advance. Appreciate you guys listening once again. We'll see you next time on episode 40 of Big Time Auto Racing Speedway. Peace out.